What's up, everybody? So, just recently, right, a famous person, a celebrity, was arrested. And as a matter of fact, they might be getting out soon. They might be getting out. Don't quote me on that. I don't know like exactly when, but this celebrity had a symbol on their face, on their forehead. It was a tattoo of a sign that represents cancer in astrology. All right. So why am I talking about this? Because as a child, reading the Bible and stuff like that, or just a person who read the Bible as much as I have, you're going to come across this text that says, get your house in order. And there's also a biblical reference that says, be aware of signs of the times. All right. So that's why I'm bringing this up, is because this guy was on center stage, put himself on center stage with this symbology. And what it did was it gave everyone a sign of the time. Now, from people who have followed that story, you will know that he actually participated with a group of people that some would consider family. If you're into camaraderie, if you're into, brotherhood in any type of way, then you would consider the faction that he went all the way to what he reached as far as career-wise. You would consider that. Some people call that family. So it's just like, just because Cancer is ruled by the fourth house, it doesn't always mean that you will call your actual relatives your family. Okay, you may have it in any different house in your natal chart, which we're going to get to in a little while. However, there can be different planets inside of this house, or different aspecting other planets that can cause some type of friction or cause some type of commotion within your family unit. Things that you would think from the observation of what people advertise as what family is supposed to be, and it just did not happen in your home. You may think that the whole system is flawed. In a sense, it's kind of true if you use that as a generalized perspective of what family is supposed to be. However, again, if you look at astrology, you'll understand like, oh, that's why I got beef with my uncle on my father's side. It's because this Mars is over here, like, I'm serious, like, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, well, all right. You come to terms with it, and it's not so terrible anymore. You don't feel bad, like, oh, you're just this kid that nobody loved or something, some shit like that. Like, nah, it's not even fucking that. You read astrology, you figure this shit out, right? So I say that to say this. The people that he was with, from observation of you, may consider that as family. And even some people who were in the cahoots or linked with this person did consider that to be family. Now, whether they truly meant it inside or whatever the case may be, I don't know these people, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying the parts that I do know. And despite what any type of results from my own experiences, when you can be in situations like that, despite how the results come out, when you're in it, you do pick up those types of qualities about yourself and the people that are around you. Those great moments, you can't fake those type of intimate moments through camaraderie and brotherhood and stuff like that. You just can't, especially when things are going well, right? It's when things start crumbling down that you get to see like, oh, okay, well, that's not my real brother, or you know what I'm saying? That's X, Y, and Z, how people can be. However, consequently from the results of what happened to this person, right? They participated in another type of activity that would get them released. And the number one reason for this person doing that is to get back to his family. You understand what I'm saying? So in this type of encounter, family is not detailed as the people that he burst on the scene with and rose to this claim to fame with. That's not family anymore. And not to say, again, I don't know these people. I don't know if that's how everyone felt, but from the observational view, you would say, yeah, right? So again, but when they did what they needed to do to get out and back home, he said he did it for his family. He's got, a child or whatever the case may be to get back to. And there's a lot of speculation going on online and everyday conversation. You'll see it, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh, well, what would you do if you was in his position? Or what would you do if you was in their position and they shouldn't have did that, this person shouldn't have did that, this and so And again, I'm not here to say what's what, who's who. What I'm here to say is this was put on a pedestal for a reason, to show you the signs of the time. So let's dig a bit deeper now, right? When you look at Cancer, Cancer is normally ruled by the fourth house, ruled by the moon. The moon rules over the mind, rules over the emotional, the way you feel about things, the emotion that are actually move in the mind as well. It's a moving mind, right? Because and it moves in cycles. So 1 minute you're feeling like this, the next few days you're feeling like that, or at least thinking that way, right? And then other things external from that influences responses, or has the potential to influence responses. Doesn't necessarily compel, right? You can ponder on it and just say, nah, I don't want to, no, I'm good, and don't respond at all. Sometimes people will call that ignoring your feelings. It is what it is, though. I'm just giving you the basic definition to that, right? Of how fourth house Cancer in the moon works. So fundamentally, this is your home, your actual physical residence. And for those people who do not have homes, or are not homeowners, or do not have their own place, or whatever the case may be, the fourth house is your house, your body, it's your temple. You understand what I'm talking about? So where Taurus is the throat, right? So what you consume in your body, the fourth house is where your heart is. Home is where the heart is at, right? So this is the actual blood, life-giving, should I say, vital part of your body. Cancer is a very important part of the astrological wheel. Cancer is also the most patriotic sign in astrology because of that placement. All right, so another sign of the time that you can see based upon its definition is the increasing intensity relative to nationalism. And it's not just happening in the United States. This is happening all over the world, where people are coming to grips and to terms with certain rules that don't benefit them but seem to benefit others. And the region gets involved, whether it's immigration, migration, MNCs, and all types of stuff, FDI, who's who, you know what I mean? Who's getting what? So people are awakening in that sense to where it's becoming a true regional thing, right? And in the process of this happening, the sensitivity is heightening. Because again, we moved from the Pisces age to the Aquarius age. For some of you still lingering, that's cool. Different strokes for different folks. It takes some people longer. But with that veil being lifted, the sensitivity it's like the roof. It's like the veil of the deception, right? Which is the two types of worlds it's like disappeared now, or it's like blurred to the part where you're not really 100% sure what's what, or what it is supposed to be anymore, because there's no true rules of how it's supposed to be. So you can see how Pluto and Saturn, the conjunction inside of Capricorn, which is the opposite of Cancer right now, is letting you see that another spectacle that's on the pedestal for you to see is that the rules apply to some, don't apply to others, come to find out, right? And then now these groups of people are feeling this way, these people are feeling this way, and it's just like, well, hold on. This whole thing was bizarre from the giddy up. Like, how we never knew this, how we never knew that. And people are going to war to the point where the government is even imploding, right? So here with two planets inside of Saturn, though three now, right? Jupiter just entered, in Capricorn, excuse me. All of this is getting unearthed because Pluto is there, and people are ratting each other out, so to speak, or exposing each other, right? It's like, yo, if I go down, you're going down too. So everyone's getting implicated. Not everyone, but a lot of people are getting implicated one after the other. So it's only like about a matter of time before everyone gets exposed, right? So with this, a couple of things are happening. One is you seeing things being unearthed in government that you only heard rumors about before, and you heard like, oh, these things are supposed to be kept secret, and secret societies, X, Y, and Z, or for the betterment of the citizens to not be alarmed and panic, these things shouldn't be known, but they're being known anyway. So this, although this is could be detrimental and dangerous to the citizen's psyche. At the same time, others feel that knowing is better than not knowing, right? And some people are relieved that there's actual truths coming out of the treachery or the breaking of the rules that's occurring by some and not being held over others, right? So some sense of justice or freedom or truth is actually lingering in the air, and some people feel good about that. But see, what's happening also is all of that energy is shifted over to Capricorn, which is about structure, which is about government. But in the sign of Cancer, let's go back to the example of the celebrity that I was talking about in the beginning of the video, right? This person's, if you follow their story, this person's want to even go out and do what they did was because of poverty. They wasn't able to get this, they wasn't able to get that. And without these things, these are necessary factors to not get teased, to not get bullied, or to be accepted inside of your region, to be accepted inside of your domestic domain, in your community, in your house, even in your house. Like, it gets that serious. You know, like your parents might say, well, you're growing hair on your nuts in here, boy, and you're raising your voice like you ain't putting no bills in here. You might want to go sweep a rug or something, or do something around here to be talking all crazy to me like that, you know what I mean? Or you can get the fuck out and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? So these are the type of pressures that different type of people can experience, right? And some people don't experience these pressures from family members, but they just bring it along to themselves and say, you know what? Because of the external parts of society, I'm going to do this X, Y, and Z because I've seen this work, I've heard this work, and I think if I apply the same mechanisms, you know, people think, they strategize, people can be very smart when doing this too. And then the next thing you know, they're taking off. But see, what happens here, right, is when you do it for those reasons, and when you do it for your family, you want to take care of family members and stuff like that, what happens is you become a head. It's like the head of an organization. It's like a CEO, right? A CEO in a corporation, which is Capricorn stuff. So now you have the citizen who is domesticated in their own household coming out to society to be a figurehead in a corporation, right? Well, so this is the opposition that exists between Cancer and Capricorn. I've spoken about this a couple of times on a few videos of mine, right? And this is like, if you ask me, this is probably the most major opposition next to Taurus and Scorpio, from my perspective. So as this is happening, a lot of people gravitate toward that central figure because the central figure gets the bag, right? The central figure gets the money, for those who don't know the slang and shit, right? So they get the money, and that creates an aggregate. So if you ever heard like greed brings people together, it does. Lo and behold, it does. You know what I mean? But more importantly, when that happens, this is how camaraderie is built as well. Because the more you plunge forward into being, I'm going to say, known in front of being successful, because success really is different things for different people. And this is another thing that's generalized, and why so many people go and follow trends and go after the same thing, because it is the perception that this is what success is. So once this person gets more known, it's like they run into more adversity, they run into more problems. It's almost inevitable, because now you know a magnitude of people, you go to a magnitude of different places, and you go to a different magnitude of events that a lot of people know about, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So this is where the obstacles come from. They're only obstacles though, but sometimes these types of things can get dangerous, to where you may need security, you may need more money for this, you may have to borrow a car to go here, you may have to borrow some jewelry to look and play a part, things of that nature, right? So these people kind of like become embedded until the central figure, the same way that a CEO has employees in a corporation. You understand what I'm talking about? And it just happens to be so that some industries, and of course because of practices as well, are more dangerous than others. So it's like, can a person be both, right? You try to be both, but it's like, who do you get your money with? So this is the big question that has to be proposed. who do you get your money with? Because a lot of people feel like, yo, the people I get money with, that's my family. You know what I'm saying? My family don't understand me, or they don't even have to understand me. They just gotta bear with me while I go get this money, and I'm gonna take care of my family. Like, that's my responsibility. Now, some people feel this way. Some of you kids out there, some of y'all jumped off the porch and y'all took this responsibility onto yourselves, right? And I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're good. I'm not saying you're bad. What I do know about astrology is this. Sometimes people do more than they're supposed to do more than what they're called to do. For whatever reasons, it's a myriad of reasons that I can name, but I just want to put that out there. People have different lots in life, right? But sometimes people fill the void or fill the roles of other individuals, again, for their own reasons. I'm not going to detail it, but you've seen it. You've seen it time and time and again. You might even be one of those types of individuals, right? But in astrology, like if I look at your chart, I may tell you, look, fall back. What you're doing right now, like you're doing too much. That's another phrase that's actually been popularized lately too, right? You're doing too much. Like, chill, you're doing too much. That's from intuition, from raw intuition. But if you study astrology, you may figure that out. So another thing that comes with the sensitivity of this whole central figure coming out of the family unit to become corporate without true planning or true structure, the way corporations actually work, you can see the emotions get involved, whether it's jealousy, whether it's envy, whether it's just sadness, whether it's feeling incapable. You know how you stand to somebody who has more celebrity or more things than you, more items than you. It can make you feel, just not as worthy or not as adequate for whatever reason. You may be a genius, but you're standing next to a person who has a Lamborghini or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? And it just doesn't feel right in a certain environment. Perhaps you shouldn't be in that environment, or perhaps that person that you're standing to is doing too much. But what happened is, from the outside looking in, people will develop their own take and their own assessments of you and everyone around that central figure, and will perhaps decide to do harm to that people or to those people. You know what I mean? And it's also the other end of it, where the central figure starts being condescending, or they start talking down on people, or they start talking crazy to people because of this newfound power that they have obtained, whether it's through their work or through their popularism. Because it could be both. Some people become popular and famous without doing the work, and vice versa. Some people work their asses off and don't become popular, or whatever the case may be, and that's fine. Especially when it comes to talk about Capricorn on the other end of the spectrum. It's like Capricorn energy does not care about popularism without the work ethic. The Capricorn energy believes that it will outdo the popularism overnight sensation because of the work that it puts in to climb, to achieve the status. And once that is solidified, it's like it's worthy of it, like it's earned, right? So it's more of a weight, more of a type of process like that. And that's how these things happen. When you're talking about people moving out of the Cancer energy, and they're moving rapidly, right? They're coming out as leaders, they're coming out as entrepreneurs, and they have this type of maybe internal type of worry that they have, that resources are scarce, so that they have to, again, build up that nest egg in order for things to be correct at home, right? But how much money is enough? How are you able to determine that, or how are you going to be able to understand that? Like, people don't, it's challenging to put a limit on it when you're in it, is pretty much what I'm saying. And then you see what you're capable of when it comes to that. And then whether you have the time or not to ponder and say, well, am I taking care of my family, which is my relatives, or am I taking care of the people who helped me get here? And if you're taking care of the people that helped you get there, that's like mandatory, you know what I mean? In a corporation, in a legitimate corporation scope of things, you know what I mean? But sometimes a person might feel intuitively like, yo, I should be taking care of G-Ma right now, you know what I'm saying? I should be getting my moms out of this broken down house into a new one, whatever the case may be. And some people who reach these plateaus, their relatives don't care about that shit. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, yo, I don't want to move all the way to the hills and all that super shit you talking about. Like, yo, I'm here, I'm chill right here with my bingo partners and all that shit. Like, fuck is you doing? Like, what are you talking about? You trying to take me from my friends and shit. Some people are like that. Some family members are like that, right? But again, a strong point that I want to make is if I know your natal chart, I can tell you stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And but again, a lot of people are taking these roles because of external pressures and all types of different factors that influence them to do that. But this is what I really want to put more heavy emphasis on is this. The North Node is in Cancer, so that's why it's a sign of the time. That's why that situation with this person played out the way that it did, to let you see that this is the side of the spectrum that is not on the other side, the total opposite, which is Capricorn, which is structure, which is, now this person was in an industry, right? An industry is supposed to have a company, and a company is supposed to be structured, and it has, I'll put the pyramid up, but it might be a parallel structure, right? I don't know if y'all know about that, but all structures are not pyramid structures. There's parallel structures as well. So, you know, was there enough structure over there? Because possibly it wouldn't have happened that way if that was organized like I would say like I don't want to say, well, like a more renowned company, right? Like a Microsoft or a tech company or something like that. You don't see or hear about those types of stories, and I'm not saying that their hands are squeaky clean either. You understand what I'm saying? Things happen, but there's a type of difference in how these things happen, and even how they derive. You know what I mean? Even how these companies derive, how they're built. There's a large difference when it comes to ethics, morals, and, you know, just a whole bunch of things that we can get into. But I just want to make the point of how this opposite is. But the North Node is in Cancer. So people right now, wherever you are right now, in your home, your apartment, whatever the case may be, because the North Node is in Cancer, this may be where you actually end up in life. Depending on what your age is, maybe not. Or depending on what your natal placement is, maybe not. You may travel overseas or whatever the case may be. But even if you become a traveler, like the place where you're at right now, that might be one of your stations or one of your apartments or one of your houses. And you might just start jumping all over the place, all over the world, and getting different houses and different properties and shit. We don't truly know yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much you zoom and look into your chart and look for solar returns and all that. I don't know how much planning you do. But keep this in mind, because again, keep the fourth house dynamics inside of your mind right now. It's very important, because despite all of the energy and the planets over there in Capricorn, the North Node is the head of the dragon. All right, so the North Node is tugging everybody this way while the tail is over there. That's what the tail sweeps. The tail of the dragon sweeps, clears shit out, clears it away, right? And you know, just like the wing on the back of a car, it possesses those type of aerodynamics that makes you glide better when it comes to the guidance system. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why government is being unearthed like that, and a lot of secrets are being exposed, a lot of atrocities are being exposed, a lot of wrongdoings are being exposed, because some people have abused power in those areas, right? And then on the other side of the spectrum, when you got the head of the dragon going, people are really having to define or redefine what family is. So it's kind of ironic, right? That Christmas that a lot of people associate with family. And I see like a lot of people, I wouldn't say gloating, but a lot of people are like putting so much emphasis on, oh, you should be home with your family and X, Y, Z. Like, this is what I mean about generalizing things as far as family goes, or even the holidays, and people getting this perception of that's the way that it's supposed to be. Everyone has different lots in astrology and in life, in the universe. You understand what I'm saying? So for you onlookers who are looking at social media and you're kind of saddened, maybe your parents passed away during that time, or you don't have as much family, and it's just, don't be sad, you know what I mean? Because astrology, probably in your charts, was there too, That's your lot in life. Don't be saddened by that stuff. But these are not generalized things. And I can give you a more of a concrete proof of how it is because in your natal chart, everyone's Cancer is not in the fourth house. It's just not. So everyone's not going to have that picture perfect family that was shown in the TV shows when I was coming up anyway. You know what I mean? It was just like everywhere you turn around. So Mr. Drummond and them had some type of like, oh shit, you got foster kids. Isn't this some shit? You know, we could fuck with that. But I mean, and I'm just saying that because of coming from ghettos, but you'd be surprised if you look in astrology how you can pinpoint how many types of children are going to be born with the same type of predicaments, but that's a whole nother video. What I'm saying is this, that you can't generalize Cancer based upon where Cancer is at in your natal charts. So in order to get your house in order, you need to know where Cancer is in your natal chart. And then you have to calculate where Cancer is in the sundial during every day. So you can extract what it is that you need to extract from the day and bring it to your home unit now. North Node is not switching into Gemini until May. So you still got time. So that's why I'm doing this video, to give you a heads up of, because things are coming when May comes around. That's going to be like right after Taurus season. Things are coming, and I'm not saying that to scare anyone. I'm just saying it's going to get a bit more logical. So for some people that may help. For some people, they're going to have to make a transition to get. I would say this is why I'm doing a video early, so you can process your feelings as much as you need to be able to deal with that type of logic that is going to be coming. So again, get your house in order means, what does domestic life mean to you? What does family mean to you? Because if you see in situations like as far as nationalism can go, it can implode. If you look at objectively, if you look at the United States right now, it looks like it's imploding, right? So how can the North Node be in Cancer, which is the most domestic sign in astrology, and nationalism is actually imploding? How can that be? But again, it's a generalization. I just got finished talking about generalizations, right? So please believe that there are people that are working diligently to make sure that that doesn't happen. However, if you're not one of them, then you are perhaps out of order. You're being disorderly. And I don't want you to get swept up in any of the folly or any of the madness that shouldn't concern you. However, if you're not prepping for this, if you're oblivious to what's going on, then there's a possibility that you can get snagged in some type of way, or get a wake-up call, or get, run into something that you don't expect. So to get your house in order, you got to also pay attention to what's going on in Capricorn for real. Even if you're not political, I don't care. You need to be paying attention to the stuff that's going on over there, because, like I said, there's people working diligently to make sure that this whole thing doesn't crumble and fall apart. And a large part of them are in government as well. Regardless of what's going on in government, just think about it like this. Why else would everything be coming out in the forefront like that if it wasn't? Right? It's not just media, because think about it. What we've learned about media since this political term is how obedient they have been. So I guess obedient is the word, because of who they are networked and grouped with, that they only speak about certain information. But when it came to the actual politicians, these are the people who's actually saying, oh, well, you know what, this happened and that happened. They're doing the news reporting now. And it's just like, oh, what the fuck? No one would expect that. So like I said, some people are actually enthused by that, because they're like, oh shit, somebody actually gives a fuck. They might be being vindictive and vicious to the other political, not even in some cases allies, but the enemy, the opponent, right? But still, nonetheless, the information is being exposed for us to see, like, oh shit, these motherfuckers are nuts. Like, oh, I gotta move like this now, I gotta move like that now. But it also lets you know that there are some people being stern and saying, yo, fuck this, we can't do this, or we can't let this happen, right? We can't let this. Another example, right? Before I let y'all go, another example, Snowden, right? This whole shit kicked off, well, not kicked off, but heightened, I guess you could say, with North Node inside of Cancer, with Eric Snowden, right? And he's all over my YouTube feed now as far as doing interviews and stuff like that. So again, as the celestial bodies increase in degrees inside of the astrological wheel, they intensify. They become more mature and they intensify. So he's like all over my news feed now talking about what happened, how it happened, and how he would want to come back home, but what they're requesting of him, he's not fucking with. You know what I'm saying? That's a national, domestic thing. That was nationalism imploding, or the nation under attack as he's seen it, right? And he exposed it. He unearthed it. So Pluto and Capricorn type of thing. And so these are the things you should be aware of. Now, if you can, I'm not just going to give you the information and not tell you how to structure it. If you can, or you do find out what Cancer is inside of your natal chart, then you'll know how to plan or what to plan for. And it's just as simple. You don't have to complicate this. It's just as simple as understanding what the features and the attributes are in that house. Correlate them with the attributes of Cancer, which is what I said before: family life, the domestic life, your the mother or the father of the household, the actual house, the physical structure that you live in. If you don't, you pertain to your body, the waning years of your life, retirement years of your life, the nest egg. So you may even think about this as savings, but like, think of second house as savings, but think of fourth house like the real deal, like some type of fucking hard assets is what I'm saying, all right? Correlate whatever house that Cancer is in with those things, and you'll understand how to plan moving forward while these things are happening in Capricorn. Because there's still, whatever comes out of this whole mess in Capricorn, it's gonna be some new shit. Probably a new government type of structure. You might see more types of ideologies and ways of life being implemented. So I guess you could say like capitalism is like the all of alls for America, right? But you might see capitalism, you might see communism, you might see socialism, for those of you who haven't seen it yet. You know what I'm saying? Just had to throw a little hint in there, but you expect that. But when you are aware and you realize, okay, I got to get my house in order, and whatever that means to you, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about when you hear this. Pinpoint those things. Think about the things that I said, and if you need any type of extensive advice, not like you got your Mars over here and your Jupiter. Don't drag me through that shit. You know what I'm saying? Just if you know where your Cancer is and some along those lines that I can actually answer in a comment section without doing a private reading for you. I'm here for you when it comes to that. All right, y'all. All right, I'm out.